Shocked the world today with your performance. Not many people really expected the account that you gave, but yeah, just your initial thoughts and feelings.
Bittersweet. A little close. We gave our all. We did our best, but it was just not enough.
I thought he'd done absolutely marvellous. Both men done brilliant in there. Oleksandr took some great shots. He come back off them. He bided his time. And he found the punches. So it was brilliant from him, and absolutely fabulous from my man. It was a brilliant boxing display in there. We're seeing a good fight.
The event is sold out. For those of you watching around the world, you can see it all live and exclusively on DAZN, DAZN, DAZN.
Too long his voice could do it. It's 5 seconds in the round, man.
Nobody anticipated how this night would play out. When the boxing world arrived at the pyramids of Giza, they anticipated a brief and standard performance. Everyone thought Oleksandr Usyk would do what he always does: use superior movement to outclass his opponent, seize the initiative early, end the fight in the middle rounds, and escape without suffering any significant injuries.
My 8, Rico 10.
I think I'm a 8.5. Usyk is 7.
Jab. My 5, Rico 6.
I think I have a decent jab. Put it at a 7. I think Usyk has an amazing jab. Put that at a 9.
Mentality.
10-10.
I think we're both at a 10.
Defense.
My 8, Rico 10.
I think I'm at a 8. Usyk at a 10.
Chin.
My 9, Rico 10.
We both have a decent chin, so I think both 10.
Cardio.
10-10.
I think both our cardios are pretty good. Let's rate that at a 10 as well.
Boxing IQ.
My 10, Rico 8.
Usyk at a 10, and I just got into boxing, so let's put it at a 7.
Aura.
My 8, Rico 10.
Instead, something very unexpected took place. Even Rico Verhoeven's most devoted fans didn't think this result was plausible, nor did the analysts or the bookies. With just 2 professional boxing bouts under his belt, the towering kickboxing champion faced Oleksandr Usyk, who is considered the finest heavyweight of this generation, and matched him every step of the way for 10.5 rounds. The fact that Verhoeven was ahead on the scorecards before the entire night was abruptly ripped away from him is even more startling.
Man, that was a crazy fight, bro. Rico really came over here to win, and he pulled out a really great show. But thank God that Usyk won, man. It was an amazing fight.
Do you think he was winning the fight, Rico?
I think it was 50-50, to tell you the truth, until Usyk came and he delivered that uppercut.
Do you think he should have been allowed to continue?
Yeah, maybe, but he was.
For a boxer who was first thought of as nothing more than a promotional draw, that is hardly the type of statement you would expect to hear. It is not something that is spoken about a man who was ridiculed by the boxing community for even having the audacity to face an indisputable champion. But since that is precisely what happened in Giza on May 23, 2026, that is the account that is being presented tonight.
What I witnessed in Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven was an absolute bizarre, unsettling.
Let's examine what precisely transpired. Rico Verhoeven achieved an incredible feat for 10 rounds. Throughout the fight, he made Oleksandr Usyk uncomfortable by utilizing his stature, reach, footwork, and the movement focus training that Peter Fury had instilled in him over a 3-month camp in the Netherlands. Before the 11th round began, the scorecards were examined. One judge had Verhoeven ahead 96-94, while the other 2 judges had it tied at 95-95. Contrary to all expectations, Usyk had advanced to the championship rounds on level terms with a fighter who had only 2 professional boxing fights under his belt.
Completely honest, I just saw the end because of all the comments I was reading, and they stopped the fight after the bell. So the bell went, and then they stopped the fight. So yeah, I think we might just go and appeal it, because this doesn't make any sense, right?
No.
Like if the bell goes and then stop the fight, why? You know, it's like then it's my time to rest.
As you say there, Rico, people on social media were not happy with the stoppage. Fans, media ringside were very surprised the fight was stopped. How badly hurt were you at the end of that 11th round?
No, yeah, I got the 8 count. It was a good 8 count. Yeah, it was needed. So, but I felt like because I heard the click, so I like, okay, fuck, let's go. We got like 10 seconds. So let's just keep on the move, hands up, and then fucking catch the shots. And I feel like that was what I was doing. So for me, like that's why right away when the referee came in, I wasn't dazzled or whatever. I was looking at the referee and like, why are you stopping? Like, we're almost there. So it didn't make any.
Take a time to consider the true meaning of that. Anthony Joshua was defeated twice by Oleksandr Usyk. Additionally, he defeated Tyson Fury twice. Daniel Dubois was defeated. However, he had never in his professional boxing career gone into the championship rounds with someone so novice in the sport completely eliminating his advantage. As a professional boxer, Rico Verhoeven spent less time paying for a gym membership than the majority of fighters. Even yet, he was standing across from the unchallenged heavyweight champion, creating history just by competing and surviving at that level.
Times like this, I know fighters. You know the mentality that they have, whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, well, hell, whether it's combat sports in general.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you want to go out on your shield.
Absolutely.
You want to go out on your shield, Joe. But in this case, sometime a referee or sometime your goddamn corner needs to save a fighter from himself and getting unnecessary damage. I watched the clips. Obviously, I wasn't able to watch the fight because I was playing basketball today. But based on what I saw, where he wasn't able to protect himself after going down, you get back to your feet and you have a barrage of punches and you getting hit with almost everything. Somebody got to protect you.
Then came the 11th round, and for years to come, boxers will discuss the final moments of that round. Oleksandr Usyk emerged with an entirely different level of energy, seeing that the fight was slipping away. Rico Verhoeven was finally sent on the ground by his powerful right uppercut. The enormous Dutch warrior was soundly defeated. The throng halted for a moment under Giza's open night sky, with the imposing pyramids in the distance. In anticipation of Verhoeven's recovery, thousands of people held their breath. However, the plot takes a drastic turn at this point. Because of what transpired next, there was such a huge issue that the argument hasn't stopped since it started.
Good footwork by Usyk, steps back. Oh! Drops him! Steps back, uppercut. Rico falls forward through the ropes onto his knees. 1-2 from Usyk, he's going for the finish. Rico's in the corner taking shots. And again, more, and that's the end of the round. Referee stops the fight. No way, that's bullshit, man. It's round 11. What was the time on that? It was nearly the end of the round. I don't know if that was corruption. I mean, he dropped him badly. Rico was hurt. He followed up. I've seen stoppages like that a lot in boxing. But when you consider that this is for the heavyweight boxing championship, fights don't get, or titles do not get any more prestigious than this. Let the man go down to his fucking knees. Let him get dropped. That wasn't a good stoppage. You're saying good stoppage. He looked fine. He was defending. He was covering up. The hands were high. He wasn't just standing there.
Rico Verhoeven was able to outcount the referee. Still struggling to heal, he got back up on his feet. His mouthpiece had fallen out during the knockdown, so referee Mark L. stopped play long enough to replace it, which is regular procedure. Verhoeven seemed to have survived the knockdown and won the opportunity to fight from every aspect that was apparent. Oleksandr Usyk, however, pushed forward once more. Verhoeven was no longer returning punches, and his legs were obviously unsteady. Then came the turning point in the story. Referee Mark L. abruptly intervened and stopped the bout with what appeared to be less than 10 seconds left in the round, and according to some spectators at ringside, potentially even after the bell had already sounded. Round 11, TKO. Usyk prevails. Official halt time, 2:59.
Boxer Rico Verhoeven, to score a controversial 11th round TKO and prevent what would have been a monumental upset in front of the pyramids of Egypt of Giza. With the fight being even on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecard, and then since Usyk dropped Verhoeven in the final seconds of the 11th round with a right uppercut, he managed to get back to his feet, but was on shaky legs with 10 seconds left, but was battered by a barrage of violent punches by Usyk. Rather than allow Verhoeven to continue into the final round, referee Mark License called the fight off seemingly after the bell sounded, earning Usyk the stoppage win at 2:59 of the 11th. 2 judges had to fight 95-95, while the other judge had to fight 96-94.
Inside the arena, there was an immediate response that was anything but joyous. Along with boxing fans worldwide, a sizable portion of the audience seemed to ask the same question at once. Why? Why did the altercation end? Why was Rico Verhoeven denied the chance to reach the bell and endure the round? He was already out of the count. He had swapped out his mouth guard. The round's last seconds were drawing near. For many onlookers, this did not seem like a standard fighter safety measure. It seemed like a choice that drastically influenced the night's result, and perhaps even the course of boxing history.
I can't believe Rico Verhoeven got robbed like that. It's the same old story. It's the Francis Fury fight all over again. Everyone mocked these guys. Same thing with Francis. The boxing media, the boxing fans said he had no chance. It was a sham of a fight. All this, that he's gonna roll right through him. You can't just walk in. Where did this guy come from? He's a debutante. He's an amateur. And I still maintain till this day that Francis Ngannou won that fight. At least in the Francis fight, he was allowed to go the distance. At least he was afforded that respect. Rico wasn't afforded that respect. In case you missed it, the fight is stopped with 1 second left in the 11th round. But in reality, if you actually watch it, and I've watched every single video, every single angle, it was seconds after the 11th round was over. It was an absolute awful, awful, awful stoppage. Rico Verhoeven deserved better. He was absolutely robbed. That was a disgrace of a stoppage, and the scorecards were a disgrace as well. And now, once again, someone comes over to boxing, and as they said on the broadcast, you can't let someone walk in there and just make a mockery of the sport. And in doing so, they made a mockery of the sport.
After the battle, Shannon Sharp and Chad Okosinko responded nearly instantly, and their reactions perfectly reflected the emotions of many. This was hardly the response of 2 men witnessing an inevitable conclusion. They expressed shock, incredulity, and genuine annoyance in their tone. They concentrated on the most important details. Rico Verhoeven had recovered from the knockdown. The fight was tied on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards when it was stopped, and the stoppage occurred with just a few seconds remaining in the round. The boxing world is compelled to pay attention when influential figures publicly call a stoppage problematic in real time. Even inside the ring, the mood was tense just after the fight was called off. Oleksandr Usyk was formally called out by Ajit Kabale, the WBC mandatory challenger who had been seated ringside. It ought to have been a significant event. However, the atmosphere within that ring was everything from joyous. Too many arguments had already begun. There were far too many inquiries. Additionally, there were too many people who couldn't agree on a finish.
Or let me go down, let me get knocked out clean, or let the bell go. The referee also heard that it was just the last 10 seconds. Like I said, it's not up to me. I gotta respect everything what the box organization decides, and the referee, he's the one making the decision. So plan was on point. That we had Peter Fury and Dennis had an incredible game plan made out for this guy, and it worked. It worked full out, spot on. I'm incredibly thankful to them and for helping me through this transition and supporting me through everything. So it's like I said, we were really close. Gerald Miller is an amazing guy. I love him. If we get to a fight,
There is a counter-argument to this, and those who support the stoppage think the referee made the right call. Rico Verhoeven was obviously injured. Oleksandr Usyk continued to push forward forcefully in an attempt to end the battle despite his unsteady legs. Fighter safety is the referee's top priority when it comes to boxing. Many people in the sport think that you don't wait for one last vicious blow before intervening when a fighter is clearly wobbling and the champion is attacking with full force. From that angle, referee Mark L. was not attempting to stir up controversy. Rather, he was making a snap decision under tremendous pressure on one of the biggest platforms in boxing history. Those who support the stoppage contend that he was merely carrying out his duties at the time.
I guess first thing first, what was your thoughts on the stoppage? So late on in the round, how disappointing was it?
Yeah, super disappointing. Like, let me go down to my shoe.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Was you shocked when the referee decided to jump in? Like,
of course.
Yeah.
Like, I heard the click.
Yeah.
10 seconds. Let me just get through the round. Let me slip a slide and then we're going to 12 rounds. At least we're close. Maybe we're equal on the scorecards, and then we can fight for it till the end.
Yeah.
However, the opposing viewpoint is equally compelling, and many fans find it hard to ignore. Many people think you have earned the right to hear the bell if you are tied on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards going into the 11th round, get knocked down, beat the count, and there are just a few seconds left. The spirit of boxing, a sport based on resilience, survival, and the refusal to give up under duress, is fundamental to this concept. This is the reason why so many individuals have found it so hard to accept this choice. Rico Verhoeven stood back up. He got a new mouth guard. When the battle was called off, he was still upright. Yes, he was injured. He was not unconscious, though. He was not totally helpless. He was still in combat. He will never know what the final scorecards would have looked like if he had been permitted to reach the last bell due of that halt.
But I wanted it so bad. I was so close. So it's a hard pill to swallow, to be honest.
I don't think anyone expected you to do that, and I think that's a fair comment, but you believed in yourself. I remember I spoke to you a few days ago and I talked about the stamina thing, and I'll be honest, I was shocked. You were still, you looked the stronger guy in there, your engine was still going, obviously what happened towards the end, but I think that you proved what you said a couple of days ago was correct. I think you said something about training yourself, you're always fit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I felt good. I felt comfortable. Maybe a little bit too comfortable. But, it's back to the drawing board.
How did you enjoy that experience, though? The pyramids, and you fighting one of the greatest fighters of all time.
I loved it. It was so much fun. It was history. We made history. We wrote history, especially with everybody writing me off and then putting up a performance like this. And then, like the early stoppage.
Rico Verhoeven expressed his disapproval of the halt right away following the bout. He reacted in a cool, collected manner. He was open about his feelings without seeming resentful or angry. He felt he was still capable of finishing the round when the referee intervened since, in his opinion, he was never given the chance to do so. It's important to recognize that degree of poise in such a situation. On the biggest night of his professional career, this fighter had just climbed from the ground in the final round, only to have the bout end while he was still standing. The boxing world need to acknowledge Verhoeven's restrained, professional, and dignified handling of the situation.
Do you think Rico was winning before the stoppage?
Good question, I don't know. Were you impressed by that?
Yeah, I knew it was a good fighter.
Should have been given a chance to continue? Yeah.
The events that followed gave the narrative an even more profound depth. Rico Verhoeven was transported to the hospital after the altercation. 11 hard rounds with Oleksandr Usyk, one of the most technically proficient heavyweights the sport has ever seen, caused enormous bodily damage. Verhoeven withstood constant pressure, withstood Usyk's constant volume, withstood a late knockdown, and persevered through every challenge a generational champion could present. His body had suffered the consequences of every moment of it by the end of the night. And that trip to the hospital is a crucial reminder. There is still a human being at the heart of this tale, a man who gave it his all on one of boxing's biggest platforms and endured the very real physical consequences that come with it, beyond the controversy, scorecards, and never-ending discussion around the stoppage. There are now questions in the boxing world that won't go away anytime soon. Was Rico Verhoeven worthy of hearing the last bell? Many well-known boxers believe that the answer is most likely in the affirmative. Would he have performed well enough to win on the scorecards if he had survived that round? No one will ever really understand that. What we do know is that the scorecards at the time of the fight stoppage depicted a fighter who was either leading or level in the biggest fight of his career. Officially, Oleksandr Usyk will always be listed as the winner. However, the discussion surrounding that outcome reveals a much more nuanced narrative. Usyk has yet to lose. He still has the championship belts on his waist. However, one of his victories has raised serious concerns for the first time in his heavyweight championship tenure. Not inquiries concerning his skill. Not inquiries about his magnificence. But concerns about that particular evening. The night a towering Dutch kickboxing champion entered Giza and was on the verge of pulling off one of the most incredible upsets in boxing history. He ended the night in a hospital bed, wondering what might have happened if he had been given just 10 more seconds.